You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
Do you need a car? Been shopping only to be turned down because of bad credit, low credit, no credit, bankruptcy, or divorce? Guess what? Today's your lucky day, because now you can buy a car, truck, or SUV, just about any vehicle. It's true. Bad credit doesn't matter. No credit doesn't matter. Bankruptcy or divorce, it just doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, your job is your ticket to your new vehicle. We're Auto Credit Express, and we've helped thousands of people just like you. Antonio H. told us, great company, got me connected, and the day I went in, I drove off in the car I wanted. 100% worth your time. Need a car? Get started now and drive off as early as today. Just text FINANCE, FINANCE, to 357-911 right now to get started. That's FINANCE, FINANCE, to 357-911. Auto financing the easy way. Text FINANCE to 357-911.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your health care? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their health care. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your health care, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your health care while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
At St. Jude, our family never sees a bill at all. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures. Saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Sometimes writers feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It's takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same.
So that last little bit that we heard there, that probably should have been playing while Ben Sass was talking today. Because that was awesome. So anyway, I am Rick. She's Jen. We're live. KLRNradio.com. Welcome to the Jen and Rick Show. How is everybody doing tonight? Speaking of which, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I did not get to sit in front of the TV or a computer and watch the lunacy all day, but I kind of kept up with it a little bit.
So we might as well start with the funnest part of this whole thing today. What do you think about the chick standing behind Kavanaugh giving the white power sign?
Oh my gosh, I was just reading about this. So, have you heard about who she is?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why this is so funny.
Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. And like Lachlan Markay just like hit it out of the park. He's like, because, all these people are like, who is this? What's up with the white power sign? Because for anybody that doesn't remember, they have decided, and I know that there have been legitimately some groups that have used this as a white power sign, but for the rest of your average American and even average human, especially in the Western world, the OK sign, when you make the zero, the O with your forefinger and your thumb, and then your other three fingers stick up, fanned out, OK. Yeah, so that apparently is the white power symbol. Now, anybody that uses it that's even remotely associated with the right, if they're caught on camera doing it at a baseball game or like she did it during the hearing or something, then they're claiming that it's a wink, wink, nudge, nudge signal to white power and, all the racism that Trump has brought. So she was doing that behind him. And at least at one point, it seems like someone asked her a question or something or kind of like gestured to her and she did like the okay. Yeah, okay, got it. Because a lot of people do it like that. And when I lived in Europe, I can't tell you how much, like with people that didn't speak the same language, you use thumbs up, thumbs down, okay, like those kinds of symbols to be able to communicate with each other. It's pretty common, and to act like it's only used as a white power sign is pretty silly, but even funnier because she's actually a minority and a Jew.
For those of you keeping along with the racist scorecard at home, she is Hispanic and a Jew, if memory serves.
Yeah, so Lachlan says, someone says, who is she? What's up with the white power sign? Eva Gollinger tweeted, Zena Bash, Trump White House advisor and Kavanaugh assistant, does racist white power symbol live on TV during Kavanaugh hearing. She's been smirking and making faces since the start of the hearing. Racist government, racist judge, hashtag stop Kavanaugh. And Lachlan says, this is Zena Gelman Bash, a White House lawyer and the granddaughter of Polish Jews who just barely escaped the death camps. Take a bow. Oh, and her mother is Mexican-American. Really hit the bullseye with this one.
Yeah. So, not to put too soft of a spin on this or anything, but the main reason they're saying that this could be like the white power symbol is because, you get the W from the 3 fingers and the P from the fingers that are making the shape, plus the side of that, the wrist. So maybe she's a nerd. Maybe she's given a thumbs up to WordPress.
I mean, it's just so ridiculous. That's like that's something you learn as a little kid, like all the like A-OK or, yeah, thumbs up. I understand that there have been some people that have used it maliciously. However, they are in such the minority, and it is not a consistent symbol of white supremacy. Most people just see it as, okay, got it, good.
Yeah, so here's the thing. If you actually look at the picture, because, it's all over the internet now, she's actually got the symbol kind of upside down. So if you actually look at the American Sign Language Guide, if you're being literal from the way she has her hand placed, it actually looks more like she's making the symbol for a-hole. So is she?
Yeah, I didn't get to actually see it. I just read about it.
Is she subconsciously telling everyone that her new boss is an a-hole? If I was a liberal, I probably would have went with that more than the white power thing. Just saying.
Well, they are, of course, like as we knew they would, they are absolutely losing their mind over this. I mean, the protesting, they came out in the full dress today again from A Handmaid's Tale. The cries that, if he's not stopped, then thousands of women will die. Just all the hyperbole, all the hysterics. And it's just so laughable because as far as I know, because I kept trying to check on it and I was really busy today, but I kept trying to check on it and it was like hours and hours and hours and he wasn't even talking. They were just still giving their opening statements. And for a lot of these Democrats, it really has very little to do, or it seems like that it has very little to do with actually being real and discussing this candidate, this nomination for Supreme Court. It really is about them, and it's a chance for them to showboat and get on TV. And it seems like all the major players all the people who want to be major players in 2020 are grandstanding quite a bit during this confirmation hearing process.
Yeah, so here's my thing with this. And actually, I want to let you hear some audio first, and then I want to kind of give you my take based on the audio on why I actually think the left is having such a meltdown. This has actually been Sass during his opening statements earlier today.
The solution is to restore a proper constitutional order with a balance of powers. We need Schoolhouse Rock back. We need a Congress that writes laws and then stands before the people and suffers the consequences and gets to go back to our own Mount Vernon if that's what the electors decide. We need an executive branch that has a humble view of its job as enforcing the law, not trying to write laws in the Congress's absence. And we need a judiciary that tries to apply written laws to facts and cases that are actually before it. This is the elegant and the fair process that the founders created. It's the process where the people who are elected, 2 and 6 years in this institution, 4 years in the executive branch, can be fired because the justices and the judges, the men and women who serve America's people by wearing black robes, they're insulated from politics. This is why we talk about an independent judiciary. This is why they wear robes. This is why we shouldn't talk about Republican and Democratic judges and justices. This is why we say justice is blind. This is why we give judges lifetime tenure. And this is why this is the last job interview Brett Kavanaugh will ever have. Because he's going to a job where he's not supposed to be a super legislator. So the question before us today is not what does Brett Kavanaugh think 11 years ago on some policy matter. The question before us is whether or not he has the temperament and the character to take his policy views and his political preferences and put them in a box marked irrelevant and set it aside every morning when he puts on the black robe. The question is, does he have the character and temperament to do that? If you don't think he does, vote no. But if you think he does, stop the charades. Because at the end of the day, I think all of us know that Brett Kavanaugh understands his job isn't to rewrite laws as he wishes they were. He understands that he's not being interviewed to be a super legislator. He understands that his job isn't to seek popularity. His job is to be fair and dispassionate. It is not to exercise empathy. It is to follow written laws. Contrary to the onion-like smears that we hear outside, Judge Kavanaugh doesn't hate women and children. Judge Kavanaugh doesn't lust after dirty water and stinky air. No, looking at his record, it seems to me that what he actually dislikes are legislators that are too lazy and too risk-averse to do our actual jobs.
So that was Ben Sassa's mic drop today. So I want to backtrack to something real quick. And yeah, feel free, because I did that earlier. So
I mean, this is why I know that some people got put off with him, because he stayed pretty, strong in his course and in a never Trump sort of way. But this is why America still needs Ben Sass. This is why I still want him in Congress. This is why I still want him out there speaking. I want him present at these hearings and given a microphone, because he is so solid on almost every issue from a constitutional, motive and with that as the very strong core. I mean, he just nails it constantly when it comes to these things.
Yeah, so I want to backtrack to something, because honestly, something that he said in that quote, that bit that we played, resonated with me, because he said we need to stop having activist judges. I think, honestly, that's one of the reasons why the left is so up in arms about this. It isn't because they're afraid that Kavanaugh is going to be an activist judge for the right, but it's because they're seeing Donald Trump is doing a really bang-up job of dismantling a lot of their activist judges with these new appointments that he's been slowly and methodically putting in place. Now, say what you want about Donald Trump. I'm not always a fan. But a lot of his policies are working. A lot of his appointments have been pretty spot on. I think Kavanaugh's going to be another spot on appointment, because let's face it, even if something happens with Roe v. Wade, which is highly unlikely, it's not going to outlaw abortion. It's going to kick it back down to the states, where, as far as I'm concerned, is where it never should have left. But that's just me.
Yes. Well, and, this is just such a charade, right? Because unless there was like a pretty significant chunk of Republicans that decided to, go rogue and go against this nominee, which is just so unlikely that there would be enough that could derail this vote. I mean, he's going to get confirmed. This is the way they wanted to play the game, and that's how it's going to be now. So, and they have themselves to blame for that. But I also think that, when you He is right about the activism, about the activist judges. The problem is the Democrats have for a long time, in lieu of being able to actually get the American people and the other congressmen on board with their policies, they have been using the courts in order to make these policies law that they have wanted. They have used the courts. They have manipulated. They have brought cases through with the sole intention. I mean, there have been just a lot of trial and error cases in order to try to get judges to rule certain ways so that can be then a precedent which can be used higher up. So, that they are, like you said, maybe not so afraid that we'll be activists, because they know that that's not what we do. However, they're afraid of us taking away some of what they've done and what they have been able to get through, just through judges, through the court system, and not by actually relying on the people who we have elected to craft policy and to make these decisions for the American people. And they've allowed them to skirt their jobs forever. And quite frankly, I think some of these senators and I think that they don't want to have to do those jobs, because then they get held accountable, right? If they have to put forth they have to put forth bills with their name on them. If they have to draft policy, then they get held to the fire over it. Their feet get held to they really have to then take a stand and deal with the consequences. And we see more and more and more that nobody wants to put their name on anything, and nobody wants to take a vote on anything that's controversial or anything that might be seen as kind of, going with the ebb and flow of the public, whose mind changes constantly, it seems, and who's influenced by the media. And they don't want to have to, solidify anything that could jeopardize their reelection. And so they're happy to have depended on these small cases in the courts to make somewhat like landmark precedents, so that they can go, see, and now they can do it and they can take the heat. And then we'll see what happens if it ever gets to the Supreme Supreme Court. And oh, by the way, it's so hard to get to the Supreme Court that we probably don't have to worry about that. And now everyone will use this as a ruling. And so, yay, we win. It's that culture war thing. And they're doing it with activist judges. And they did it so hardcore under Obama, and they were able to push so much through that they're having a little bit of a panic attack now. I think that the tables are turned and they no longer can control the the narrative for this country in that way any longer.
Yeah, I think the other thing that has them completely freaked out is the fact that they're realizing that since we warned them specifically that when Harry Reid went to simple majority, they were going to regret it someday. And they're like, no, you guys are a bunch of dinosaurs. You're never going to get in power again. And now here we sit with just needing to have simple majority. The funny thing about that is I've heard people all day today talking about how we don't really have a majority right now because Senator McCain's passing. They seem to forget that there's already been an appointment that will have been sworn in by the time the vote actually happens. So we actually do have up to 51 votes if every Republican votes the right way.
Well, and all of these Democrats, especially the ones that are really screaming here, they were never, they're acting like, oh, we need more documentation. Isn't it like 400-something thousand pages that have been provided, which is is more than the last 4 justices combined that were appointed? It's ridiculous how much that they've provided. I mean, Kagan didn't even provide her, any of her documentation from being Solicitor General. So that's ridiculous. They said, nope, can't have that. Too bad, but you have to confirm her. So, I mean, this is just such a, like I said, it's just such a show. The people that are screaming and they're claiming they need more, and they're claiming that they haven't been able to dive into his record enough, which is just completely laughable. They've made fun of everything from him having beers in college to buying baseball tickets to, having a car accident. I mean, it's just ridiculous what they have decided to attack. But by the way, Beto O'Rourke down in Texas, that DWI that he actually was a pretty serious crash, and he tried to flee the scene, and citizens had to keep him there until the cops came to arrest him, and it all got dismissed because his daddy's a judge. That's no mind. Make him senator. He's moral good. But, Brett Kavanaugh liked basketball and had beers in college. So let's, burn him at the frickin' stake. He doesn't take it seriously enough. I mean, it's just insane. They are not serious. They are never going to vote for him no matter what. And I do think that there are a couple of Democrats that could. It used to happen a lot more often, but, there could be a few that you still look at this process in a more kind of straightforward way. They're not every Democrat in office is Booker and Kamala Harris. I mean, so they're not all that emotional and, hysterical, but certainly they may not, even if in good conscience they wanted to vote for him based on the just strict standards of, of going ahead and confirming a nominee, they may fear the wrath of their party. And the wrath of all of these loudmouths who are just complete bullies in the political arena. And so therefore may go ahead and vote no, even if they would otherwise vote to confirm. And I really don't blame them, quite frankly, because they are the leaders of the Democratic Party right now are a hysterical, nasty bunch.
Yeah, they've lost their minds. Speaking of lost their minds, we'll probably save it till after the bottom of the hour break, but we do have a new parody, so we're going to probably play that when we come back from commercial. I don't know, this whole Kavanaugh thing, there's just so many different tangents that we can go off on with this whole thing, because it's just such a mess. I mean, it's like the guy that tried to shake his hand today that said that he walked away from him because his daughter was a victim of gun violence and he's a strong supporter of, gun control, blah, 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 and that Kavanaugh turned on heel and walked away. Dude, I've seen your Twitter feed. I probably would have turned on heel and walked away from you too to keep from going to jail for assault.
Well, how about good old Linda Sarsour getting arrested during the protesting?
Wait, what? I missed that. See, it's been...
You didn't know?
Yeah, no, it was really crazy at the day job today, so I've been playing catch up all day. And I heard that there were arrests, but I didn't know that Miss Steak Tartare was one of them.
She was the first protester to be removed by police and had to be carried out while she was dragged out screaming, "This is a travesty of justice. We will not go back. Cancel Brett Kavanaugh. Adjourn the hearing." And she kept saying, "This is a mockery of travesty and justice."
Nice. I really wish I would.
So she was arrested. A couple actresses were arrested. Several of them were.
Was Alyssa Milano arrested? Was she?
Who?
Was Alyssa Milano arrested?
No, I have not heard that, but Piper Perabo was. She was the little star of Coyote Ugly and then went on to do Covert Affairs or whatever on one of the cable channels.
Yeah, she did Covert
Affairs. I actually like her. I didn't know
her.
she was such a crazy, but I mean, it figures, right?
I didn't either. Actually, I never watched Coyote Ugly. I did, however, like Covert Affairs, so I was a little yeah.
I know.
I don't know why.
I know.
Why does everybody in every show I like have to be crazy?
I know. Well, Linda Sarsara, of course, tweeted today, "I will be able to tell my daughters and future grandchildren that I stood up. I was not and will not be silent when our bodies and rights are on the line. Hashtag cancel Kavanaugh." Anyways, so yeah, she was arrested and, good.
Can we deport her?
Unfortunately, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. We're just wishful thinking. But anyway.
You know that she is connected in a kind of one of the men that is her mentor, who also was one of the co-conspirators of the 93 World Trade Center bombing with Bill Ayers. And she has repeatedly called him a mentor, even writing about him. His son was one of the ones at this New Mexico compound with the 11 children and the death of one that were all arrested and then charges dismissed, though they're going to be refiled. But
I was going to say...
she's just constantly connecting herself to, wonderful people.
So I heard the brouhaha about the whole thing about them being picked up on the local charges and the charges being dropped, but I heard the feds are picking up the case. So I'm wondering if the judge that decided to drop the charges wasn't maybe more aware that the feds were sniffing around. They probably had harsher penalties.
From what I've read, it seems to be it is pretty much about technicality. They have a certain amount of time to then have a hearing to present enough evidence to indict. And they did not do it in a timely manner. And even the district attorney's office said that they would be, that this had kind of been a whirlwind. But for a lot of us, we say that's inexcusable. You had 10 days or 14 days or whatever it was, and to not file on time, and that's why they have to be released is. It just seems like an egregious miscarriage of your duty of justice. So
this is a travesty. Oh wait, sorry, that was the other story.
Yeah. So and I haven't dug further into the details since then. But surely there was then another two that they were dismissed on those charges and rearrested pretty much immediately on the death of the young boy that was found in his remains, and then. That there's that still does not mean that the DA. It doesn't mean that it's over. It's not like that's double jeopardy. They were just charged and then had to be released. They can still go through a grand jury to indict. This was just going to be a hearing directly to the judge.
Good to know. All right, so we're up against the bottom of the hour. When we come back, we have a new parody from the Third Rail Ramblers. This is the Jen and Rick Show. I'm Rick. She's Jen. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Army back during Desert Storm. But even then, he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
He's our carcinogen. Now the right's got the majority. Torpedo Roe v. Wade. Saboteur. Oh, Kavanaugh. 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 Might have to try it. Folks, not a legal smoke screen. So true, they're yearning to complete the coup. They got a red crush rolling through the clock room. Electoral college cost us Hillary. Her coast again was spurred. I'm with her. No, Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh.
Yeah, he's running a little frat boy, all right. Wallet might implode from that debt he's running on. Go to Georgetown, unleash that keg, vanilla elite hat.
Be cunning, we're dying, right a line.
And there you have it, folks. The latest from Third Rail Ramblers, Kavanaugh. As somebody that used to, back in the day, sing for my supper, that is not an easy song to do. So hats off to Two Cynic Al for pulling that one off, and Beaker for the lyrics, because you guys rock. I've not found a parody you guys have put out that I haven't actually completely thoroughly enjoyed. And that's enough of me talking. So what do you think?
No, that was so good.
Yeah.
Gosh, I love their parodies.
Yeah, they're like the perfect pairing, because Beaker goes nuts with the lyrics and Al just finds a way to pull them off, and they're just, I don't know. I haven't found one that they've put out that I haven't liked yet. I like them so much I actually keep sending them to the station that I fill into from time to time. So far, I'm not sure. I don't think they've played one yet, but I'm going to keep sending them anyway. Eventually, I'm going to get them to play one. Or next time I fill in, I'm going to do it anyway. All they can do is tell me I can't come back.
Oh my gosh, so many of these talk shows, of talk radio have parodies that they play, and so many of them are not even close to as good as the Third Rail Ramblers. So someone should pick them up at some point.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we're just biased because we know them, but I think their parodies rock. But anyway, that was their latest one. And Ron, yes, I heard your request from Off the Rails earlier when I played it on that show. I will talk to Beaker about getting you a copy of the lyrics for your old deaf ears.
It's not a bad idea to maybe, within the week of afterwards or whatever, like just post them along with the track so that, because I think a lot of people have a hard time with that sometimes, not just those that are deaf.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I spent so much of my teenage years like trying to figure out lyrics to songs, and so then when there was actually like search engines and Google to just be able to pull up the lyrics, and then you find out like a few years later that even those were wrong because those sites just let anybody write them up.
Yeah, the funny thing is when you find the actual approved lyrics and you realize that half the songs you sang from your childhood you were singing wrong.
Yes.
That was always fun.
There's a lot of them. One in particular that's a common, gets brought up a lot in my family. It's a common joke as originally Billy Joel's, but what we learned it as was Garth Brooks' Shameless.
Yep.
And my cousin thought it was, I'm shaving. So always shaving. Yep.
Nice. That's funny.
So it's like, I'm shaving.
So, I don't know. I think maybe we've talked about Kavanaugh enough. We're down to like 19 minutes left to show clock anyway. So as far as, anything else that's going on in the news, you had anything else?
One last thing I wanted to say real quick as far as Kavanaugh goes is that there have been quite a few, especially in the media, saying I've been to several hearings or I've covered hearings. I've never seen anything like this. And all I have to say to that is, well, the thing is, we don't typically elect children or allow them into Supreme Court confirmation hearings. But, such is the way we are now.
Yeah. It's just, all of it's crazy. I was talking about that a little bit, and actually it's a nice segue into the next thing that I kind of wanted to talk about, because I wanted to get your take on it too. I'm tired of politics being everywhere. That's honestly one of the things I liked about what Sass said in that audio clip we played earlier, is, judges are not supposed to be politicians. They're not supposed to legislate from the bench, but all in all, and this is going to sound weird coming from a guy who is actually trying to get paid to do political talk radio, I don't want politics to be a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week thing to where it permeates everything. Because it has. It's permeated every aspect of any TV show I watch. It's now permeating the sports that I like to watch, because Kaepernick is back in the news. Because while he's not on anybody's roster, as part of Nike's 30th anniversary, they've decided to make him one of their spokespeople, which is great. I don't really care. But really, I mean, come on.
Yeah, so first of all, let me say, and I know I've said it a lot before, and more power to you if you want to put your money, I have no problem with people wanting to take their money elsewhere whenever something like this comes out, but don't boycott one thing and then mock the left when they boycott something. I mean, boycotting Nike, they're boycotting In-N-Out and hamburgers. I in general, I don't like the boycotts. I kind of think they're dumb. I do encourage people that without there being something overtly controversial and then the fad to boycott, to look at where you're putting your money and decide if you think that that's what's best, or go for some things. I want to make sure that I'm putting my money towards people I support, businesses I support who maybe think like me or whatever else. But there's some things that, you just can't do that with, or you just don't care to sometimes, and that's okay too. But I'm not going to burn my Nike stuff. Though I don't really know that I have anything Nike right now. I'm trying to think. I think I've mostly got like New Balance and Reebok and Adidas, and I guess I have some University of Texas stuff that's probably Nike. That's probably true. But anyways, point is,
it's going to be really hard for me to boycott Nike. I'm cheap. I don't want to pay more than $20 for a pair of shoes. Just saying.
Well, that's what I get like the $20 throwback Reeboks for. But anyways, I think that this was a little bit silly on their part, particularly with the quote. What is the quote? I was going to have it ready to pull up, and I completely forgot about it. About sacrificing everything.
I have it. Believe in something even if it means sacrificing everything. That's actually the quote from the ad, and then hashtag just do it.
So that I kind of have an issue with, because first of all, he was already benched before the kneeling thing came up. Then the kneeling thing. Second of all, I think that he sacrifice, even if you have to sacrifice everything, I mean, I am not here to belittle a second string or even a third string role on any, professional team, because you're still better than almost anyone that's ever played the sport. And you're getting paid well too. I mean, I had friends that were on practice squads and stuff, and they got paid decent to just go get their butts kicked by the guys that got to play on Sundays. And, they got to do that for several years and make good money and still have fun and enjoy football for a while. So, we also know some people that have made it really far and made a lot more money. But what is he really sacrificing is what I'm wondering. I'm not,
nothing,
his career was kind of done.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. He's still a millionaire douche, so what exactly has he sacrificed?
Well, not only that, but so he's still getting paid good money even when he was on the bench. And he did get another offer to be another backup quarterback somewhere else, but that was the only one that happened. And, he was never going to be a star. That's just not the way it was going to work for him, unless he had gotten into a system that just for some reason really worked around him because of how good the rest of the team was. He was good enough to be on the roster. He was never going to be the star. So what is he sacrificing exactly to then now make millions of dollars over this ad campaign that's going to last for a while? And it was reported how much he's getting paid, but it's several million to do this Nike campaign. So, Mr. Justice Warrior, what I want to know is, are you sacrificing everything when you're getting paid millions to be the face of a campaign that says you're sacrificing? When really, let's consider who sacrifices what when it comes to a job. When you're kneeling for the anthem and speaking out, and the media adores you, and you've got the entire Black community behind you. You've got all of the liberals behind you. What are you really sacrificing?
Let's not forget the same guy who was kneeling for the anthem because of social injustice was wearing socks that depicted police officers as pigs and a Castro t-shirt at one point in time as well. So what exactly has he been protesting?
Well, and that's what I also would say, if I am Nike, I would be thinking about, is that really the best choice? Because there are so many of these pretty almost iconic photos that Sports Illustrated did of him, and it was on the front of newspapers and things of him with his hair flowing behind him, and he's kneeling down, and he's clearly got his pig cop socks on. I mean, what is that? What message is that sending?
Well, the funny thing about that is he didn't get in trouble for wearing the pig cop socks, but the players that wanted to wear 9/11 commemorative cleats, they weren't allowed to do that. They were going to be fined. Speaking of mixing politics into everything, here's a recent ESPN take on the Cap Nike story. Well, it's 4 minutes long, so I cut it down 1 minute and 10 because it covers the gist of it.
I'm going to take some slight issue with one of the things you said in the lead-up, which is Nike betting that it's not going to alienate customers. No, I disagree. Nike knows it's going to alienate certain people with this. I think they are making a twofold bet. One, that there are other people that will redouble their support for Nike, or maybe folks that used to be Adidas or Under Armour fans and say, you know what, I'm going to go support Nike in support of Cap. But also Nike is looking, to me, they are looking at this on a much longer time horizon than the next quarterly balance sheet and the next stock market open. They are saying, what have we represented? This is our 30th anniversary. What have we represented for 30 years, essentially, most notably, the last 25, since Jumpman and Jordan, when we said, you know what, we are going to make a black man the face of a marketing campaign when that was, I mean, OJ had done the rent-a-car commercials, and that was about the list. And Nike made a huge bet on Jordan. How about Tiger? We're going to make a black man the face of our golf. We're going to create a golf industry that didn't exist. The Williams sisters with tennis. And
So here's the thing about everybody that he's talking about, other than Kaepernick. They were rock stars.
Well, right.
This guy's not. This guy was mediocre at best. His record is actually being fluffed up now because he's Mr. Sockjust. He was not that great. I mean, granted, he was better than most everybody else that's ever played the game in the backyard.
Yeah, like I said, you know, making the NFL at all is nothing to be poo-pooed here, but let's not pretend like he's, you know, that he's even remotely someone that was going to be leading a team to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, we're not talking about a Brett Favre here. I'm just saying.
No, not at all.
But I mean, but here's the thing. Nike made a conscious decision. And because of that conscious decision, the one thing that I think is funny is if you compare the last couple of leftist boycotts versus the last couple of right boycotts, there's a big difference. So the left gets crazy mad about In-N-Out because, you know, we talked about this on Thursday. They've got the whole, you know, Bible verses in their bags and blah, 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 blah. So the left says boycott In-N-Out Burger. In-N-Out Burger sales actually go up last time I looked at the numbers. The right gets ticked off over this whole Kaepernick thing. In one day, Nike lost 7.4% of its, or what was it, 2.7% of its shares? I have that number right here. I think I flipped it. Yeah, it was like 2.7% of its shares lost in 24 hours. So
yeah, I had seen that, I guess about halfway through the day or so, that it was down like 3%. So I knew that was going to be a thing. And you have to consider, like, and this is what the NFL has had to struggle with, and part of why I think that they agreed on the policy, you know, to have them either stand while they're on the field or stay off the field for the anthem, and why a lot of the networks aren't going to show the anthem anymore is because it's bad for business. And your average American doesn't want to deal with all of that. They don't, not when they're watching their Sunday football game. They might volunteer in all sorts of ways, or they might research things, or they might go to school for certain things. They might have, you know, they might be total social justice warriors when it comes to their real life. But even some of those people, even some of my really good friends that are just 100% like on board with basically the kind of thing that Kaepernick is trying to promote, other than himself, supposedly, that are normally totally on board with that kind of stuff, like, have not wanted it to be a part of Sunday football. Now, maybe that's just because they're also still Texans, so they're, you know, still pretty hardcore about their football and want to keep politics out of it. But it wasn't just because they disagreed, like people blame the right for it. Like, they actually agree with some of it, and they're saying, keep it out of here. So you're just losing a big part of America when you decide to go that route.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. ESPN is losing money because they're interjecting politics everywhere they go. Disney is losing money because they're interjecting politics everywhere they go. The Han Solo movie was the first Star Wars movie ever to lose money because it was a big suck-just flop. It was so bad that they've actually tabled all the one-offs. They're going to basically finish episode 9, and then that's going to kind of be it. Or episode, what are we at? 7, 8, I think 9, maybe? I don't know. I've lost count. But anyway, they're going to finish the main storyline, and they've tabled everything else, which makes me really kind of sad because the one I still haven't seen Solo. I will probably wait for it to come out in the red box, so that way I only pay like $1.99 to watch it. I will still watch it because I'm a Star Wars fan, but I intentionally made a decision to not go see that movie because I started hearing about all the reviews and all the weirdness that was going on with it. And because of that, again, this is the first Star Wars movie ever to not make money. And that's the thing that these people need to understand. This goes back, and I use this analogy all the time. It may be a little too old for you, but it goes back to the 80s commercial for Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, where they're like these two people walking down the street. One of them's got a jar of peanut butter. The other one's got a chocolate bar. They trip. Somehow the chocolate lands in the peanut butter, and they start freaking out. And they're like, get your chocolate out of my peanut butter. Will you get your peanut butter out of my chocolate? That's how I feel about politics. And I'm a guy trying to get paid to talk politics. Get politics out of everything that doesn't have a damn thing to do with politics, please and thank you.
Yeah, I don't know that commercial. Or if I did, I don't remember.
I'm going to find it for you on YouTube and link it later. That's all right. You're a millennial. That's why you don't remember.
Oh, whatever. You know, they're having to shift all of that now. They're having to figure out what to do. Because the whole point was that you were a millennial if you came of age at the new millennium. And it's been shifted to be kids that are in college right now, which they were born at the new millennium. We were starting to be called millennials back when I was still like in high school and early college. It didn't catch on as much until, we were Gen Y. It didn't catch on as much until, about 8 or 9 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. But it really wasn't supposed to be this next generation, which is significantly younger than me and shares almost nothing in common with me. So it's supposed to be coming of age and learning. We're getting blamed for all of these pipsqueaks, safe space, sensitive little ninnies running around now, and all of their, what do they do? Eat Tide Pods and have fire challenges and all sorts of stupid other crap.
You forgot about the snorting condoms thing.
Snorting condoms.
But that's okay, because no matter what they change it to, you will always be a millennial to me.
So what I want to know, though, is, so other than kind of in general being a jerk to people about it all and acting like a pompous douchebag, what is, siphoning money off of major corporations in order to make them the face of their anniversary campaign, what is Kaepernick doing for social justice, really?
Nothing.
I mean, are there foundations? Is he going to take a bunch of this money from Nike and donate it? Is the clothing line or shoe line that they are saying they're going to make after him, are there going to be proceeds that benefit certain communities? Are they going to set up, summer camps with NFL players for underprivileged youth? Like, what are they doing? What is he doing? And what good is his money going to go towards anything good other than his own house, cars, and I guess maybe the amount of time he spends at the barber?
Have you seen his hair?
Ugh.
I don't think he spends much time at the barber.
No, I think that they work on that twice a week.
I hope he's not paying them much. Now, that being said...
It's a well-crafted mop, let me tell you.
Every time I see his hair, I think of Sideshow Bob. Just saying. But, so, I don't know. To answer your question, I really don't know. I mean, I'm one of those people where, if I am trying to do things, for the most part, I try to keep it quiet as far as the stuff that I'm doing behind the scenes. But I'm also not one of those guys that's like, oh, look at me, I'm going to kneel for the national anthem because I think this country's oppressive. First of all, you're sending the wrong message because kneeling is subservience.
I kind of always thought that. I think we probably talked about that some. Where we were like,
we have.
Ooh, I don't know though. Like when you're standing up and you're trying to you're supposed to be standing up for something, but you're kneeling down. It's kind of strange. I mean, normally we either kneel as a subservient or we kneel in reverence, right? And this is neither.
Well, he says it's neither, but again, what do you see when you see a bunch of people taking a knee? I mean, that's like when we're at a sporting event, like a football game. when people are taking a knee, what is it typically about? It's about some sort of, usually it involves an injury situation. They've got somebody
either an
that's being
injury
carried
or
off the
just
field,
prayer,
or just like you said, prayer. So we're either kneeling. Most of the time when we kneel, it's a sign of either subservience or a sign of prayer. So which one is it?
Reverence and respect. Because
if he's praying, I'm surprised the liberals are okay with him taking a knee, because we shouldn't be praying in public. At least not according to liberals.
Gosh. Well, I just think that, I think from the get-go, I know everyone got really angry about it. And we talked about it a lot. I talked about it on Twitter a little bit. But for the most part, I didn't really care. Let them kneel if they're going to kneel. Whatever. It's not that big of a deal. And the bigger deal we make of it, the more they're going to do it and the more it's going to become an issue. And because of the reasons that you and I just talked about, it just didn't bother me near as much as I know it did a lot of people. And that's okay. People get to have their own opinions, and they get to, have certain things that hit them differently than others. That's fine. But I do think that as they're trying to honor him as some sort of hero, and he's just taken money to the bank. And I have a hard time just believing in any sort of genuineness coming out of Kaepernick at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, Andrew in the chat was just talking. He's like, for all the people that were taking a knee during the games, I didn't hear about them doing much in the off season. And to me, that's the thing. If you're going to make a statement when you're working, do something outside of work that puts your money where your mouth is.
If you're going to use your celebrity as a platform for something like this, if you're going to use it as a platform to speak up and speak out and speak truth to power, or whatever you want to call it, then you better damn well be backing it up, especially if you're going to cause such a ruckus and such a controversy that it pretty much turns this country upside down as far as that arena of our social world. Then you better be putting your money where your mouth is. You better be active. You better be actually doing something. And I'm not just talking about walking down the street with a Black Lives Matter sign, or walking down the street in a you-know-what hat. I'm talking about you better actually be doing real work to help the people that you're supposedly protesting and standing up for, and using your position and using your job and using your celebrity and other people's money and airtime to get your fame there. Then you better be doing something to back it all up. And just most of these people are not. And there are a lot of really good people in the NFL doing a whole hell of a lot, and they're not plastering themselves all over television.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, so we are back out around to the top of the hour, so we got to get out of here. So why don't you remind folks where it is that they can hang out with you when you're not on the air listening to me rant, and vice versa.
Yes, come find me on Twitter at jholmstead. Find Misfits Politics on Twitter at Misfits Politics, and of course misfitspolitics.com. There should be a Misfit gift challenge tomorrow night, so for anyone that needs a break from after the Kavanaugh hearings and all the craziness that Twitter can be, just come have some fun for an hour on Misfit Gift Challenge, and it'll be good.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for us tonight. This is Jared and Rick. We'll be back with you Thursday night. Don't forget, tomorrow night, I have the night off as far as live programming. However, I'll be running some behind-the-scenes stuff. So we're going to kick off the night with the Conservative Curmudgeon Radio Show right here on KLRN Radio at 8 p.m. Eastern. Then we have One Nation Under Foo with Ordy, who's hanging out with a chat with us tonight, as well as Polita Bunny, who's too cool for our chat room, who will be with us tomorrow night at 9 Eastern. And then we have an hour break, and then as far as I know, we should have the Jess's POV show. As far as I know, she's up next, but she's kind of waiting in the wings, waiting for me to shut things down. So we are going to get out of here for the night. I will see you guys when I see you. We'll be back Thursday night, and don't forget to tune in tomorrow night. Lots of great programming, even if I'm not on, because, every once in a while I got to take a night off sometime. So we will see you guys later. We're going to go out with the Kavanaugh parody again. We're not going to play the whole thing. We're just going to use it as a bumper. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Or I will, anyway.